It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go, here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
And it's on.
Run it to your friends, come on.
Come on, come on.
This is a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still troubled in your home. Got you tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we speak that truth. Sometimes you doubt yourself, lost your health. Faith is on the fence, but you believe that Jesus knows your wealth. Keep it moving, spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling Wednesday 8 and 9. And it's on. Once again, it's on. You're listening to the only morning show when people at night. That's right. It is the Sinclair Show coming to you live and direct. That means whenever I'm on, technically you on, because whatever you want to talk about is what I want to talk about, because we talking about things together. Y'all don't know nothing about that. See, I just be coming up with wonderful things. I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions and comments to sinclairtalk@outlook.com. We're going to continue to address as many as possible each night that we're on the air to reach you, because you all are the valued listeners. Some of y'all don't even know what that means. Let me tell you what that means. If you were the valued listener, that means there would be no reason for the Sinclair Show if it wasn't any of you all out there in listening land. That means whether you coming on the radio and catching us, whether you're on Greenville Public Television, whether you're on social media, that means Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Man, there's so many different platforms we on out there. Regardless of what comes out, whatever comes out, I just want to thank y'all for joining in, because, again, no reason for me to be here if it wasn't you all. Anyway, so let's just see what's going on out here. First of all, let me see who's already jumping in on the show tonight. Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard. Y'all know what? She's from Rocket City, Alabama. Some of y'all don't even know nothing about Alabama, because some of y'all is a little bit iffy when it comes to saying where you're from, because you be trying to hide it because you're ashamed of where you're from. Let me see who. JC, what's going on? She done jumped on early tonight. Let me see. Oh, man, there go y'all homeboy, Mimi Mims, the Mimster. He talking about, what's up, my brother? How's everyone doing tonight? Missed ya. You know why you missed us? Because you was doing something else. You thought something else was more important than coming on to the show. That's all right. We're going to let you sneak back in. Annie Moore, what's going on? Glad to see you as always. And for any of the rest of you who are out there who keep saying, oh, Sinclair, you didn't give me a shout out. Well, if you don't come on to like Facebook, and let me make this clear. When I am talking to you all, you may be catching me on a specific platform, but I am using a third-party platform that lets me shoot out to everybody at the same time. So generally, I will see comments that pop up on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you say, what's up, Sinclair, I'm probably going to give you your shout out. For those of you who are on the other platforms, unless you send me something to the email or whatever, I'm not going to know to give you that shout out. So I just want to let y'all know that that's the reason why some people get shout outs and some people don't. It's not because I'm trying to be funny, because, you know, some of y'all getting your feelings. Talking about family week, don't hate a brother for that. Whatever, man. Go on about your business. Uh-oh, there go my mama. Hey, mama. I called my mama today. Y'all ever call y'all mama don't answer, then you had to start putting a search party out for her. That's what I had to do today. She wasn't answering, so I had to get the I'm gonna put a low jack on my mama's car so I can tell wherever she at, whenever she's there. Anyway, people, look. As the other come on, we'll chit chat with them. People, there go y'all boy Jay Dizzle. What's up, Johnny? Did you have to go see the man today? I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. It's funny. It really is funny. Every morning that I go to work, right? Like most of you all who get up super early, I get up super early, so we be out there on riding land. And so me and your homeboy Jay Dizzle, we call each other every morning, and we be talking about the fact that we going to see the wizard. We got to go see the other dude, you know, and that's all right. Some of y'all get up and go see the man too. Some of y'all don't. Some of y'all need to. I'm not going to say who, but some of y'all definitely need it. As a matter of fact, if y'all don't get up, I don't even want to talk to people who really don't get up at least 4 o'clock in the morning. If you don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I really ain't got a lot to say to y'all. Let me see who has popped up at. April Brown, glad to see you. Well, let me see what Johnny talking about. He went to the man at the plantation. Yeah, feel the same way. Same way. Now, I got to be careful how I say that, because you say certain thing like plantation up here, they be y'all cancel culture. I don't know if they can cancel you for saying plantation. Matter of fact, some of y'all feel inspired when y'all hear that word. Don't. I just had to say that because some of y'all be acting a little brand new. But anyway, so this morning while I was on my way to see the wizard, they had the interstate shut down. And there is nothing worse than you making good time headed to the job, early brisk hours, and the interstate is shut down, and you got to find yourself following traffic on a back road that you ain't got no business on. That right there happened this morning. And it started raining. So, you know, I done went through the whole thing, and I'm sleepy. Y'all ever been sleepy? I understand how little kids feel now. Little kids that be young be talking about they sleepy. I'm sleepy. Let me see who else. Ty Matthews, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you up here. So anyway, yeah, so sometimes when you up in the morning and you know somebody else is working at the same time, call them and make sure they woke on their drive. Not that kind of woke. I could tell y'all something super funny, but I ain't even gonna do that because I don't want to have no problems with folks in Congress. I went down to Congress and somebody said something about y'all wokeness. Let that go. Anyway, so let's see what we're gonna talk about tonight. Let me see. So glad I work from home now. I don't miss the traffic at all. Y'all know it's always one. It's always one in the group that wants to almost rub it in because they got an opportunity to work from home, that they don't miss the traffic. Nikki Carter. You know what? I said that I'm going to be nice. I'm going to start off with pleasantries. And if it don't end that way, y'all know why. Good evening, Nikki Carter. Glad to see you up here today. And there's the big homie, Big Rod. Glad to see you. Let me see. Yo, whatever. All right. So anyway, would you all like to go to the deep end of the pool or the shallow end of the pool? What say you all? The first three people, the majority rules out of the first three responses I get. Let me see, what is Nikki Carter talking about? You need to stay on your best behavior. Girl, get up out of here with that foolishness. Talking about some, hey, Miss Nikki Carter. Y'all do realize that Nikki Carter is really not a part of the show. She's a visitor, right? Ty says she want to go to the deep. April want to go to the deep. JC wanted to go to the kiddie pool, but unfortunately, JC, the two before you said they want to be in the deep end of the pool. All right, so let's check this out. Let's start with something. Hold on, let me see who else said something. Hey, see, I'm gonna tell y'all, that's why I like Lady Elegance Pritchard. She don't cut no corners. She be like, let's get to the deep end of the pool. We ain't got time to be playing. Big Rod, he always want to smoke early. He ain't got time to be playing either. But don't worry about it. Here we go. Let me see what I want to talk about today. Whoo, there are some real deep things up here too. We're going to start with this one. All right. So the Senate on Tuesday passed to protect same-sex and interracial relationship called the Respect for Marriage Act. In a landmark bipartisan vote, the final vote was 61-36. The bill reported by all members of the Democratic caucus and 12 Republicans, the same dozen GOP members who backed the bill for a procedural vote earlier this month. All right, so let's start talking about this. First of all, I want to talk about this in a couple of different perspectives. Now, the first is this. Let me clear the airway. Big Rob say he voted. Big Rob been on the move. JC says she like to put her little toe in first to make sure what the water temperature is. She don't like to jump in the deep end. Hey, I can respect that, JC. All right, so let's talk about this. And I have had so many people that thought that I wasn't going to talk about this. I don't know why y'all think I'm that type of dude. I'll talk about whatever you all want to talk about. Listen, because I rock with God don't mean I don't talk about real issues. Y'all the one scared, not me. Me and him cool. So, but let's begin with this. First of all, let's talk about the first part of it. Detective Pamela Black, we are glad to see you as always. Now, it said, so here's what they had to say. They said, for millions of Americans, this legislation will safeguard the rights and protections to which LGBTQI plus and interracial couples and their children are entitled. Biden said in a statement Tuesday evening after Senate passes, hailing its bipartisan achievement. While the bill would not set a national requirement that all states must legalize same-sex marriage, it would require individual states to recognize another state's legal marriage. Let me say something to y'all. And this right here, obviously, I have long talked about my personal and spiritual perspective as it relates to the same-sex marriages, okay? I do not believe in them. I am not a supporter of it. Okay? Get that out the way. However, I am mad with America about the fact that we even got here. Because to be honest with you, let's be clear. Those in the LGBTQI plus, I don't even know how many alphabets it is, but those in that particular section or sector never really wanted legal rights to be married in the first place. Let's be clear. They never wanted it. It was those of you who wrapped your mind around saying you were part of the Bible Belt that forced this issue. Because those of you who can remember some time ago, this started not about marriage, but because there were individuals who happened to be in same-sex relationships that when their partner, as they were calling them then, their life partners, would get sick and go to the hospital, hospitals would not allow these individuals access to their loved ones or the decision-making properties because they said it had to be a family member, i.e. a spouse or otherwise. Even if the person was willing to sign documents giving that person the right to make the decision. So for those of you who are angry, hold on, Thomas Mims, ain't nobody asked you to jump out there on that side of the track yet. Let me get there. Now, so for those of you who are upset or angry with those who are now taking advantage of same-sex marriages, it's your fault. We were so anal about everything, wanting to control everything, making our own personal views a mandate on someone else, that what we did, we forced them to go to court. That's the truth. If you'd have kept your mouth shut, let them pay for whoever to be on their insurance bill that they wanted to be on their insurance, let them go back there and you sign the paperwork on who you want to make your life decisions, which should be their right anyway. If we hadn't been so arrogant, if those of you who tinkered around with the legislation and saying that you were acting on your religious beliefs or whatever, all you had to do was mind your own business. That's all. And there would never have been a same-sex marriage because nobody was asking for it until good old people decided that I'm going to tell somebody that they can't go sit at the bedside of somebody they was in a relationship with. When y'all made that decision, you forced a hand on it. And the Supreme Court did exactly what Supreme Courts do. They look at something and said, who are we to make that decision? That's how we got here. And I say that, again, already stating I'm not a supporter of that term, same-sex marriage. That ain't what I rock with. But I understand how we got here. And it was because arrogance, ignorance, and ego. So if you want to be mad at somebody, don't be mad at those people with the LGBTQI, however many alphabets. Don't be mad at them now because you all forced their hand on it. It doesn't matter if you or I believe in it or not. You force their hand. And when you force somebody's hand and you don't know what will happen on the other side, you get situations like this. Now that I've got that out the way, let's talk about the other part of that. It's 2022, almost 2023. And this bill is the bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriage in a landmark vote. Understand something. For those of you who harp on why some people feel the way they do about being in America, I personally believe America is the greatest country in terms of individual access to be able to flourish and do what you want to do. But that doesn't mean that we are flawless. And that doesn't mean that you all who like to creep around these sensitive issues because you're afraid to mention them because somebody will cancel you or make you feel some kind of way. In 2022, about 45 days or less from 2023, we are sitting around here talking about needing to pass a bill for interracial marriages to be legal, because there are still some states where it is illegal. Think about that. See, nobody likes to talk about America from the position of, are there racial or racist or discriminatory practices that include black folks? Yes. We're talking about this bill that the Senate just passed includes interracial marriage as being now protected. Why was it ever an issue? We haven't come no further in all these years that some of you states still got it on your books that if you are in a relationship that leads to marriage and between a white person and a black person, or a white person and a person of color, that in some states it's still against the law, to the point where we now got to pass a bill that includes that on the end. But y'all say we ain't like that. And to my white brothers and sisters, my white comrades, y'all sitting around here talking about black folks always mad about XYZ. You talking about Negroes is always in their feeling. They always making something racist. Why is it that there are still states who have on their books that interracial marriages is illegal? Y'all didn't like that. See, y'all was comfortable when we was just talking about gay folks or LGBTQ folks getting their rights. Y'all was comfortable with that. But you dare not go to the deep end of the pool that proves that there are still parts of America that are either trapped in time or still holding on to those old things. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Let me say this to you. I just want to sprinkle this on your spirit. For those of you who say that Negroes and blacks should not be upset or in their feelings, this is 2022. And do you realize that every 25 years, they still have to vote on the fact or ratify, if you will, black folks' right to vote? That right there. Still to this day, every 25 years, it must be ratified that black folks still get to vote. Now, you mean to tell me with all these things that we sprinkling around and making amendments and rules and guidelines and changes, nobody thought, well, why don't we just go ahead back in here and make it so that we ain't got to keep voting every 25 years? Because what if in the next 25 years you get an old snaky Congress and or somebody has both the House and the Senate and they feeling some kind of way and they decide that they don't want to vote to ratify that Negroes can still vote? We thinking about it and we feel like, oh, you know what? We done come so far because now they up here with this foolery. Marcus, what's going on? Young brother said definitely every other nationality as well. I'm baffled. And we don't think nothing about it. Let me see what Big Rod talking about. Big Rod said, now that's the problem that I have. Why do we have a dumb bill like that and still haven't voted on it this day? There we go. And if you think about it, every 25 years when they pop up, Corey Parks, what's going on? Ty said just white plus. Every 25 years when it pops up, nobody is saying, I'm getting tired of having to put my name on something that says in 25 more years, we'll come back and we'll vote. And they say, oh, it's a formality. Well, let me tell y'all something. If it's a formality, then go and stop the formality. If it's a formality that we're going to do it anyway, then let's just do it all one time. But let me tell you why they don't want to do it. Because there are some who are hate-filled who want to keep their options open. See, I make you feel good when I say, oh, we're going to do it anyway. Ty said white people don't have a formality that allows them to vote or a formality that has to be approved every time. Absolutely, they don't. And that's the thing. Nobody wants to engage that conversation because the moment that everybody goes and they take the vote and it pops up on C-SPAN or wherever, then everybody feels warm and fuzzy because they got 25 more years. And some of y'all saying, well, I ain't going to even be around for the next time, so it ain't going to matter. I'm good. Stop being just you good. How about that? Stop just worrying about yourself because that's how we got here. Folks worrying about themselves and nobody else. And some of you young folk don't even pay attention to nothing going on. So you wouldn't, they snuck it in on you and said no in the first place. Big Rod said they have kicked that formality down the street the past 2 years. Absolutely. And so I wanted to bring that to the forefront because while we sitting around here and y'all in y'all feelings because they allowing same-sex marriages and now they letting black folks and white folks get married with no possibility. Now, hold on. And matter of fact, let me be clear about something. If you go back and read what the bill says, it don't say that states got to abide by it. It just simply means that if for some reason a state does allow it and you move to another state, they can't do nothing to you. So really, what's the big deal? I'm just saying. And I know what's going to happen. Some of my religious colleagues are going to say, well, I don't have a problem with this because I disagree with the LGBTQI community. I'm not in support of it. I already told y'all the same thing. But you ought to have a problem with it. You ought to have a problem with that these other things still exist. And you know why they still exist? Because you barter your voice. That's right, I said it. There are people who are in, some of my colleagues will sit silently on the sideline because some of them receive funding from the federal government and they don't want to do anything to mess up their little opportunity to get some money. And I'm not talking about all. But if you believe what you say you believe spiritually, then you ought to be standing up for those things that are right. That is the absolute truth. Somebody done snuck in here. Let me see if I can block this person. Let's see. So at the end of the day, I'm saying this to you because I want you all to understand that this, while today we might be sitting up here and we might be talking about the Senate passing a bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriages, but we're not talking about black folks having the right to vote indefinitely, the same rights that white Americans get. We're not talking about the fact that if you're going to provide restitution anytime that there is someone wronged, then why does everybody get restitution but Black Americans, people of color? They're the only group that does not get restitution. We have provided restitution to places we ain't even been to war at. We chipping in. All I'm saying is stop just looking at the things that have the beautiful headlines that everybody can latch on to. Let's start addressing some of these other issues. I'm going to let that ride like that because I know some of y'all get a little nervous. Y'all might drop off talking about, man, this dude about to get canceled. Cancel yourselves. You don't make me nervous. All right, we got a couple of other things. You know what? I'm going to go to this one right here. Give y'all an opportunity to get your minds right. All right. This one says, we are not invisible. Service of country, but no service in Greenville, North Carolina on November the 12th, 2022. Hold on, matter of fact, let me find it. I want to read it straight from the letter. Okay. Because apparently somebody that done served their country and their family was provided some foul service. So now we got to get to the bottom of it. All right. All right. It says we are not invisible. Hold on. What Ty you talking about? Ty said an uncomfortable truth is having to tell your POC child that they have no value in the USB on the dollar that they can spend. What's the USB? Hey, you got me baffled right now. All right. We are not invisible. Service of country, but no service in Greenville. On November the 12th, this person says, my family and I went to Texas Rhodehouse located at 720 Greenville Boulevard. We were seated at 1248. We sat there until 125. Woo. All right. We saw two servers come by several times to the customers behind us and beside us to ask them if they needed anything. The manager came to the tables to check on them as well. No one acknowledged us at all. My son even saw one of the servers look at him and still ignored us. We were the only blacks in this area. And I'm assuming they're talking about that area of the restaurant. This is Texas Rhodehouse, located at 720 Greenville Boulevard. We told them what happened. No, It says, okay. The customer seated next to us. Okay, we were the only blacks in this area. The customer seated next to us wondered why we had not been served. We then got up to leave and confronted the manager. We told him what had happened, and he asked, well, are you staying? We said no, and he said, okay, well, have a great day. My son told him to have a great day, and he made a face at him. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit deep. Said we both complained to the main headquarters about how we were treated. I never got a call back from anyone. The store manager, whose name is David Hollinger, called my son and told him that the Wi-Fi was out in the area we were seated, and that's why they did not know we were there. My son told him they looked right at us, and he had no answer for that. He said it was the manager's first day on the job, so he did not realize that what he had done. I guess that is the answer to racism, is to act dumb, to give a dumber excuse. I then looked on the website for Texas Rhodehouse and saw a dog being fed from the table at this very location the previous day. They were so happy to serve the veteran dog and let him to eat off the same plates and silverware that the customers eat from. My husband is a 30-year veteran, and he could not be served at all. This is white privilege and racism at its finest. Once I saw the mutt at the table, it was a blessing we did not get served. Wow. All right. Big Rod said you sat too long. Nikki Carter said, get up and leave. Ty said, black people. Nikki Carter said, no excuses. First of all, let's go back and recap this. Now, I have long said that when there is an issue, Essie Carter, you know I'm always glad to see you. That's my armor bearer right there. She be looking out for a brother's back. Let me tell y'all something. I support what this lady is saying for a couple of reasons. One, she didn't miss no words. Okay. Marcus Key said his Texas Rhodehouse is fire. All right, Marcus. I like when people write something and they tell you exactly where it happened and who it was that did it to them. So you ain't got to guess about everybody that worked there. They say they went to the Texas Rhodehouse located at 720 Greenville Boulevard. Anybody in Greenville that's up here that ever been there? Hey, y'all know whether or not y'all have experienced similar treatment? Let's check them out. Nikki Carter said, don't stay where you're not wanted. Absolutely. Big Rod said, I remember the article about the veteran dog. What in the world? So y'all saying they got the pooches in there eating? Ty says, it seems at every turn the colonizers find a way to let black people know how very little value they have in this country. Well, let me say this to you. My concern is this. This person seems to be extremely knowledgeable and educated. How do I figure that? Because they got times and dates. They said that they went there on the 12th of November. They were seated at 12:48. They sat in them seats till 1:25, and people and servers walked past them back and forth, helping those that were around them. And they say they was the only blacks or Negroes in that area, meaning everybody getting service happened to be my Caucasian comrades, my white brothers and sisters. Even some of them, according to this person who wrote this, even some white folks felt uncomfortable. Why y'all ain't got served yet? See, I'm telling y'all this because we need to make sure that we are properly observing what takes place. See, because sometimes the reason why we don't get movement on something is because we talk about it too broad. No, we're going to pinpoint the folks that did it, and we're going to rock with the folks that didn't. Okay? Texas Rhodehouse at 720 Greenville Boulevard. You got some explaining to do. We want to know, and there's the answers. They said when they approached the manager as they got up and told the manager what had happened, the manager said, well, are you going to stay? And they said, no. He said, have a great day. When they called corporate, they said, we complained both to the main headquarters about how we were treated. They didn't get a call back from anyone. The store manager being the store manager of the Texas Rhodehouse located at 720 Greenville Boulevard. They said the store manager's name is David Hollinger. Okay. David, last name Hollinger, Hollinger. Eber said, unfortunately, Greenville isn't as progressive as it presents itself to be. David Hollinger called her son back and told him that the Wi-Fi was out in the area they were seated, and that's why they didn't know they were there. Okay, let me ask you a question. David Hollinger, anybody know David Hollinger? Please have him to give me a call or have him log on right quick so he can defend himself. I want to ask y'all a question because I don't recall going to Texas Rhodehouse down here, but what in the Sam Blazing Hills does the Wi-Fi have to do with knowing that you got a black family sitting in a certain area? Because let me ask this question. I don't know enough about it. I'm not the subject matter expert of Texas Rhodehouse. But when you go, excuse me, to Texas Rhodehouse, do you just walk in and go grab a seat, or does somebody take you to that table? Abel says, site don't work on Wi-Fi. Absolutely. Is anybody who ever been to Texas Rhodehouse, do you walk in and sit yourself wherever you want to go, or is it that someone comes in and sits you at a table? Can anybody answer that? Yvonne said, hello, Elder Sinclair. Look at Yvonne. You know how you doing tonight. Glad to see you. Marcus said, if I remember right, you get seated. Okay, so Marcus said, Thomas Mims said it too. They sit you down. Okay, so David Hollinger, let me say this to you. We got a lot of folk done been there. Look, Mother Ralph says someone sits you at a table. Johnny said they sit you down. Pamela say they sit you. You even get to pick your steak before you sit. Okay, so listen, David Hollinger, the manager of 720 Greenville Boulevard, Texas Rhodehouse, you gave her son a response that said the Wi-Fi was out and that's why they didn't know you were there. Your people took them to the seat. I don't care if the Wi-Fi was out and the lights was out. JC said, if you paying attention in the room, your customers, you know if you serve them or not. Absolutely. You all are right on the point where I'm at. All right, so check this out, people. David Hollinger, manager of Texas Rhodehouse, 720 Greenville Boulevard. You gave that dumb answer. So now we're going to give you an opportunity to explain to us, if you'd like, what in the Sam Blazing Hill does the Wi-Fi have to do with it if your employees physically guide someone to a seat and say, this is where you're going to get your meal served at, then you need to be giving us some answers. You need to tell us what's up with the training. And even if that was the case, David Hollinger, it was the dumbest answer you could give. Ty said, waiters and waitresses are assigned sections that they will work. They know who's in their section. In most cases, they will stop by your table and ask if you haven't been helped yet. And remember, the lady that wrote this letter said they was helping the people across from her. They was helping the people to the sides of her. And even her white counterparts that were there enjoying their delicious meals was looking and feeling uncomfortable because the only black family in this area can't even get a glass of water. Come on now, David Hollinger, you better call in. We need you to say something, because you know what's going to happen? We're going to spot check people. This is what I want anybody in the Greenville and North Carolina area and surrounding areas. I want y'all to patronize Texas Rhodehouse over the next 5 days, okay? Yvonne Rouse said they seat you and bring you those good roles. Well, apparently, Yvonne Rouse, not all Negroes get roles. But I'm glad you have testified that they good. So this is what I want you to do, people. Anybody who is close or in the Greenville, North Carolina area, and you are operating within this process, listening to the show, I want y'all to do some drop-ins if you're black. Okay? Mim said, I'm not going anymore. Thanks for sharing. We need to get back to the Black Wall Street way of handling our business. 30-year veteran, oh no, I'm not going. Well, see, that would be the way they didn't even get roles. That absolutely. Let me say this. Mims, I would say stop patronizing, except for this. I want people to go there over the next week. I don't care if you stop after that, but I want to get some black folks in them seats. I want y'all to record what time you get there, what time you get service, and I want you to send that information to the show. Okay? Do that for me, people. Nikki Carter say, even if they did get service, would you trust them to cook your food? Not me. And since I'm on the show and my face is plastered out here, that's why I can't be the test dummy. Because I know if they see me, somebody gonna tell them probably tonight or tomorrow. Do y'all know that Sinclair, on the Sinclair show, their brother was talking slick about us? So I know I ain't gonna get no good service. But I want you all that they don't know your face, that's not plastered, over the next 7 days. Anybody who has an opportunity to, I want you to go frequent the Texas Rhodehouse at 720 Greenville Boulevard. I want you to document what your time that you go to your seat. I want you to document the level of service that you get. I want you to document the entire process. And I want you to be fair. Because I need to know if this was an isolated incident, or we need to know if we need to all go down there and not go inside, but to go down there and have some conversation. Because I'm a fair type of brother. Okay? Marcus, what did Marcus say? You might get the best service because you're well known. Nah, I ain't chancing that because I ain't in the back. April said, not within the next 5 days. They'll be on point for the next week. Wait a couple of weeks and see what they... I don't believe that. April, I don't think people care like that. Let's be clear. I think even though we're talking about it tonight, that you got some people who are just as arrogant as they want to be, and they still gonna give Negroes bad service. But we want to be fair and give them an opportunity. So that's why I'm saying to you all, if you have an opportunity, stop in there and document your process. Document how long it took you to get service. Document how long it took other folks. I have been to restaurants, and generally I give restaurants at least 2 chances. But I have been to restaurants, gone in there, been seated before some folks, watched them folks come in after, get seated. I even waited to see what did they order as they meal, because I'm trying to figure out how long does it take to cook XYZ. And I don't want to hear these things, these excuses, the dumb excuse that David Hollinger gave talking about Wi-Fi when we got physical people. Now, if you was getting served by robots who was getting their orders from the internet, that's one thing. But you're talking about regular folks. I'm just trying to tell y'all. Now let's talk about the other piece. Let's talk about y'all feeding dogs off the plates at the restaurant. Y'all tripping. And I'm going to tell you something. They sent me the link to this. So I looked at the Texas Rhodehouse's Facebook page, I believe it was, and I did see the lady in there just feeding away the German Shepherd. I believe it was. Right from the plate, the same place y'all be getting. Now the question is the dishwasher washing the dishes properly? I'm just trying to say. So the lady that wrote this wasn't making it up. And I can appreciate when folks send me proof. So when I'm talking about something, I'm confident in it. They actually And listen, I ain't got no problem with y'all allowing service dogs to come in. But shouldn't the service dogs, y'all need some paper plates to put on the floor for the little pets. And I got dogs. I ain't trying to take them to the restaurant. Nikki Carter said that's another reason why not to eat there. Mim's talking about, okay, no, never again. JC said, where there's smoke, there's fire. If they did it to one, they did it to another. Use the R. Kelly, for example. Come on, JC, why you got to bring Kales in this? Kale's trying to get his stuff overturned, and here you go attaching him to dogs eating at the restaurant and bad service. I tell you, Kales can't catch a break. Anyway, people, before we move on to the next thing, I just want y'all to understand, if you have been to Texas Rhodehouse on 720 Greenville Boulevard in Greenville, North Carolina, and you had a good experience, let us know. If you had a bad experience, let us know. And if you go in there in the next 7 days, we want you to document your entire experience. Be fair. If you had a good experience, notate that. But if you had a bad one, hey, let us know that too. Nikki Carter talking about Kales need to sit down. Why is y'all still bringing up Kales, man? Kales can't catch a break messing with y'all, boy. Matter of fact, let me tell y'all something. Now that y'all talking about, since we are briefly on the subject about Kales. Now, Kales is trying to get him a new trial for the case he was convicted on. And I think what they gave Kales, like 25 years or something like that. Let me tell y'all something. And I'm not defending Kales, but I'm going to tell you what I do feel. I've been watching this case with Congressman, I think his name is Congressman Gates out of Florida. His homeboy done pled guilty to trafficking young girls. His homeboy is cooperating with the Justice Department and whomever else. That dude that has already said not only was he trafficking young girls in, but he was doing all kind of other stuff. They talking about they want to give him 9 to 11 years. 9 to 11 years. They gave Kales 25. This dude has pled guilty to being the trafficker. Esther said, I had a good experience when I was there. All right. Now think about that. And I'm just saying this because when I want y'all to understand, we're not supporting anybody doing anything to young girls, young boys, anybody. But the system is very, very broken. When you go back and you redig up an old case on Kales, turn it into a RICO charge, convict him and give him 25, but you got congressmen, probably not just one, but you have a congressman whose homeboy said he was with me when I was doing this stuff, who is alleged to have slept with young girls 17 at least years old, not the number, although I don't know the number. And you mean to tell me they've been looking at him all this time? If you got somebody that testified against you and they're finding a way that the congressman is still up there and doing his job, come on now, people. I remember what was the comedian that turned senator? I think it was from Minnesota. That he was accused of something, and they made him step down immediately. This dude is accused of sex trafficking and sleeping with, well, alleged to have slept with some minors and been at least cohorting with his best friend who was around here, has already admitted to sex trafficking. And he get to keep his job, and his homeboy is only looking at 9 to 11 years, unless the judge goes outside of that. And y'all don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with it. Can y'all hear people in my background? Can y'all stop all that noise down there? Anyway, sorry about that, public. Yeah, the system is broke. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Let's talk about the San Francisco board around here. They're tricky too. San Francisco supervisors vote to allow police to use robots to kill. It says the San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted 8-3 Tuesday night to approve a controversial policy that would allow police to deploy robots capable of using lethal force in extraordinary circumstances, according to the report. The Washington Post reports the vote came after a heated debate on the policy that would allow officers to use ground-based robots to kill when the risk of life to members of the public or officers is imminent, and officers cannot subdue the threat after using alternative force options or de-escalation tactics. Now think about this. The Post said the measure still requires a second vote next week and the mayor's approval. There could be an extraordinary circumstances in virtually unimaginable emergency where they might need to deploy lethal force to render, in some horrific situations, somebody from being able to cause further harm, Supervisor Aaron Peskin said on the board meeting. But Supervisor Dean Preston, Hillary Ronan, and Shaman Walton voted against that policy. There is serious potential for misuse and abuse of this military-grade technology and zero showing of necessity, Preston said. Ultimately, the board adopted an amendment requiring one of two high-ranking San Francisco Police Department leaders to authorize any use of robots for lethal force, according to the Chronicle. Think about this, people. Mimi Mims and said RoboCops is unacceptable. We need to still train in human police departments across the country. First of all, let's begin with this. Nikki Carter said, who programs the robots? Y'all know what the real fear is, right? The real fear is, hold on for a second. JC said, how would a robot know to kill? What if the Texas Rhodehouse manager is controlling the robot? JC, you real funny. Let me say something, people. Y'all know where this is really going. There are folks who said this is a bad idea because they know, what if the person controlling the robot is just as scared, their decision-making questionable? If you got some mean or racist individuals on a police department, if they could make the decision and then remove the liability by saying, oh, the robot did it. Nah, bro, we not falling for that. Ain't nobody trusting. Abel said, I wouldn't trust it. Rod said they're already killing people with no remorse. Absolutely. I said it's open season on people of color. I'm just saying. People understand this. And I know my white brothers and sisters don't like when I have to go here, but ain't many of y'all afraid of no robots killing folks. Okay? And we just being honest. There is nobody white sitting around talking about ABS, those are real concern. Absolutely. When I'm not going to hear any of our white comrades hit me up this week talking about, Sinclair, I'm afraid that the robot's going to shoot one of us. That ain't going to happen. And me having an IT background, let me tell you what I ain't getting ready to trust. I ain't going to trust that on that given day when they wheel the robot out, that the motherboard don't have a glitch. I'm not going. If you can hack somebody's computer, if you can hack into somebody's bank account, if you can hack in and get somebody's medical records, you know, like I know, that somebody with that old intellectual mind is sitting back right now thinking to themselves, as soon as they wheel them robots out, I'm going to hack into them. And once I hack into that robot, I'm going to go on a shooting spree. I mean, people is already hacking into little human robots, meaning they hacking into folks' young mind. Because I promise you, I know what they ain't going to do. You ain't going to see them wheeling in the robot to go shoot somebody in the middle of Walmart who might be killing folks. What's the actual, somebody tell me, what's the circumstance that they're going to say, oh, it's too deadly. We done tried everything else. Y'all ain't even trying to de-escalate some, not all, because we got some wonderful officers. Let me be clear with that. It is not all of them, but there are some officers who don't know the meaning of de-escalation. They be out there on one soon as they get dressed. And we don't have enough of those good officers who are willing to challenge the bad ones. Because unfortunately, most of the bad ones got seniority. I'm just saying, people, we got to keep it a stack with each other. San Francisco, they said it got to come to a second vote. I'm not down with the second vote because I believe that the greater risk to the public is somebody hacking into it. Now, I do believe that they put the onus on, they said in the current format, it would require one of two senior people to make that decision. I do not believe that the person making that in that format, I do believe that there is a check and balance. I'm just not trusting it. Because what if that person says stand down and the people on site don't stand down, and all of a sudden then they say, oh, we never told the robot to move forward, but they did anyway. We already know that you send something before jurors right now. It is hard to get jurors to convict officers because they go on what did the officer think in the moment. How you think that's going to go down? When it wasn't the officer, it was the robot that did it. Y'all know, like I know, that's not the greatest idea. So I'm not with it. Y'all out there in listening land out in San Francisco, y'all need to go and pay attention to this because, and we know, let me tell y'all something. We also know as soon as one does it, some more y'all gonna be out there trying to do it. And all they need to do is get authorization in Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, Texas. If Texas get authorization, I can tell you ain't got to worry about the borders no more. Because Texas is going to have robots all up and down the border. Yeah, that right there. So I'm just telling y'all, be careful, those of you who are in support of it in areas outside of San Francisco, because if San Francisco gets it and somebody can pull up some data that says, hey, it's been successful, you're going to see other areas. And trust me, even if it worked in San Francisco, we all know that somehow when we get in predominantly black areas with predominantly people of color, somehow get glitches. I'm just saying. Anyway, people, look, I did want to go into something else, but I ain't even going to get into it because we ain't got time. Listen, people, I got to go. I'm a little tired, but I appreciate y'all joining in because, as I always say, you all are the valued listeners. There would be no reason for there to be a me if it wasn't for you all. Keep it up. Stay blessed. Say a prayer for somebody. Do good this week. It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go.